Hey, what's happening? Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early. 7:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I just walked back in the door. I had not planned on making this video, so it's got to be quick. I am running way behind, but I need to share this with you guys because when I share stuff with you like this with you guys, hopefully it'll help somebody out down the road. It's kind of coincidental. The video I did yesterday about walking away from altercations, there was a caveat. There was something more, there was more that I really wanted to say. I wanted to mention along the fact that if you carry yourself with confidence, I found, really, you have to believe it. The way you carry yourself, as especially in urban situations like where I live here, you can avoid this whole situation. A lot of times you can avoid having to make the decision whether or not to fight or flight, if just in the way that you carry yourself. Predators will look at you and just, and cross you off the list. They'll look for somebody else. This morning, I'm on my walk. I left here about 6 a.m. and it's pitch black out there. Around the corner from me, I did two other videos I talked about where somebody yelled at me to come over to him on my bike about a couple months ago, and then I did another one, and it was a Saturday morning where a group of guys came at me, and it's in the same location. It's a bus stop where people wait to take the bus to New Britain and Hartford. These are two bigger cities. A lot of gangs and violence in these two cities, and there's a bus stop right where I was walking. So I left my area here, and it's pitch black. There's no street lights where I was walking. And I walk around the corner onto actually North Main Street here in my city, and I see a big guy, standing kind of in the road. Actually, it's like 2 lanes on one side, 2 lanes on the other side, and big looking guy, kind of off the sidewalk, about a foot or two in the road. So I just, and I see him, and he's not going in any particular direction. So right off the bat, it's trouble. It's a warning to me. I continue walking straight towards him. I do not alter my course whatsoever. Like I say, and it's walking with a confidence. You don't overdo it. It's not pretend confidence where you put your head up and swing your arms. That sticks out. That's just as bad, but just confidence. But I get about 20 feet away from him, and I'm just starting to make him out. It's an African-American man. That'll come into play, because it went through my head after, but I'll get into that in a second. And kind of disheveled, the clothes and everything. And he starts yelling to me before I even get near him. He turns toward me and starts walking towards me. I'm about 20 feet away, and I hear him yell something. And I'm not even near him yet, but I keep walking. And I was like, what? When people like this, I don't ignore them, because if you ignore somebody, or if you try to walk away or something like that, that looks like you're intimidated. So I respond with like an aggressive no, or what, or like that. And he's like, "You got to smoke?" And I have been jumped. I have been mugged at least six times at least I could think of, living in this area, the tri-state area. I remember having a guy pull a knife on me and chase me through Times Square before. I remember going shopping at a mall and having two guys come from different directions asking me if I got change, and they're circling around me as I get out of the car. I remember when I was only 14 years old, taking a bus into the city, and a guy walks up to me, a kid, and he asked me if I got change for soup, or a dollar for soup. I still remember this. It was like 30 years ago. And he got close to me, and then I made the mistake of taking my wallet out. I was only 13 or 14, and he proceeded to mug me. There's people across the street. He said they were his friends, and I've seen these motions before. Somebody tries to get close to you. They ask you these questions. All right, so he asked about cigarettes. I'm just like, no, and we can't even see each other quite yet. It's dark. We're about 15 feet enclosed. He asked me something else. He starts, he's walking now. He's walking directly towards me now. And he says, "You taking the bus?" No, and I just say like that. When he asked me if I'm taking the bus, right? If I was taking the bus, that would mean I have money on me. All right, there's no ticket booth or anything. If I was taking the bus, that would mean I have cash on me. All right, it's unfortunate, because a lot of times you have to, be a victim several times before you start realizing this behavior. All right, so now, this guy is just trying to get close to me. I've seen this before. And I'm coming up along right up to him now, and I'm not altering my course, but I'm coming right alongside of him. He's about 3 feet, 4 feet away from me as I'm walking by. And I hear him say something, but more than that, I see him just turn quick and come right within arm's length of me. This surprised me. This is like, whoa, this is for real right now. He asked me those 2 questions first, and then he said something. Well, first he turned towards me, and he just came right into my space on the side of me. I stopped. I turned right towards him. I was like, what? And he's like, God bless you. Right? And I just turned and walked away. All right, so there's a chance. There's the young kid still inside my head. The kid, the nice guy. They grew up in Litchfield County in Connecticut, and learned, went to catechism and all this stuff, and learned not to take the first punch, and learned how to box, and manners and all that stuff. It's going through my head. I'm worried. I'm not worried, but that little voice inside my head is like, geez, maybe he thinks you're a racist now or something like that, and there's that little voice, maybe you're rude to him, and I know because I've been through this, I've seen this before. I've seen these motions, and I just tell that voice to shut up. That's what predators, aggressors look for. They look for that. The worst thing to do would be get within arm's reach. This has happened to me before, and it's most of the times they'll just put one hand on your arm, and they'll be quiet, and they'll tell you, give me $1, give me your, I've never had them say, give me your wallet, but give me $1, give me $5, give me $10, or else, and you got to watch out for shanks, stuff like that, and you have to be aggressive. And he saw that honestly, what was going through my head was, should I headbutt him if he gets close enough, or should I, that's the first thing that went through my head is, if he gets close enough, I'm going to headbutt him. I was going to talk about that in the other video, but so I walk away, and it's, the nice guy in my head is still like, geez, maybe you took that the wrong way. But no, you know what? All bets were off when it's dark. It's in the middle of an empty street, and this guy's approaching me, asking me for things, asking me where I'm going. It's none of his business. He came into my personal space. He infringed on my personal space, on my life, on what is me. And all bets were off at that point. There was no being polite or worrying about looking racist or whatever. You're in my space. You made a mistake by doing this, and he knows it. He knows it because you can tell this person is out walking. He knows the streets. He knows he crossed the line with me. As I'm about a football field away, about a little over a football field away, I hear him yell something. He's all brave after I'm about 400 or 500 feet away. And this kind of confirms in my head, this wasn't, just some nice guy looking to borrow a cigarette. Hey, you got to smoke? I'm taking the bus too. Where are you going? No. Like I said, I've been through this at least 6 times when I was younger. And people try to first, there's a pattern. There's a definite pattern. They come into your personal space. They get right next to you. They kind of put a hand on you. And if you don't know better, if you're intimidated or weak, you'll stay there. And you'll try to reason with them. Hey, I'm a nice guy. What are you doing? Maybe I could help you out a little bit. If you give them a little, they're going to take more. They're going to take everything you have. There's no being nice in this situation. You have to be aggressive, and you have to be confident, not just look confident. That's the reason why I didn't talk about it. And there's just so many nuances to it that you really have to. Unfortunately, it really helps to have been a victim quite a few times, and you start to, you learn how to play the game. You got to lose to know how to win. That's Steven Tyler. Dream on, man. Anyway, this just happened this morning. And more than likely, I think I saved myself. If I had been naive, weak-willed, a nice guy, more than likely. I was actually carrying my wallet this morning. Most mornings I don't carry my wallet. I had $100 in here. I was going to go food shopping after, and so there's no way, there's no way I'm giving up my food money or my wallet. You got to learn. Just you got to have confidence in yourself. There's no faking it. All right, you guys have a good Saturday. Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's not even 3:30. It's 3:15 in the morning. 3:15 a.m. Sunday morning. You guys just watched that video. I think I'm going to put the video first of what happened yesterday. My adrenaline was still going at that point. Especially if you just watched that video, that moment. That last, at first I was like, it could just be a panhandler, but that last moment when that person came right at me. There's a few things I've thought of since. It's been about, it's coming up on 24 hours. And I talked to my family. I usually don't tell them stuff like this, like my mother. And it just came out. I had breakfast with her yesterday, and it came out yesterday. And I want to tell you something she asked me. It made me think. All right. First of all, being a nice guy, I still got that nice guy DNA in me. This morning, I kind of been looking at this thing more objectively. I was picturing what I must have looked like to this guy. One thing I neglected, I didn't put in the video. It didn't fit into my storyline. Like I said, the adrenaline was still pumping. But about a half hour after I walked away from this guy, I do a loop, and I came around again to the same area. And I look across the street, there's somebody walking across the street from me, and it's him. He's carrying a bag of returnables, and I see him looking over nervously at me. Doesn't say a word, doesn't make eye contact, turns back, And, I didn't fit this in. I think the guy was obviously probably homeless, and some things have occurred to me, and I hate that I hate that there's this nice part of me sometimes. I started thinking what I must have looked like to him. Like I said, I came around a corner and I spotted him standing in the middle, not in the middle, but about 3 feet off the sidewalk in the road, in a dark, dead, empty road. Nobody, no cars, no nothing. It's North Main Street. And I must have appeared out of nowhere to him. And like I said, I walked, I must have looked more aggressive probably than he looked to me. Because I went from around the corner and I went directly right across the street. I didn't walk on my side of the street and him on his side. I mean, as soon as he saw me, I was coming around the corner and straight at him, crossing the street towards him, directly towards him. He didn't know this is my exact usual path. He was just in my path. Me being stubborn and whatever, I was unwilling to move out of my path. So I'm picturing what I must have looked like to him. Then I started thinking about this, but him entering my space and what he hit me up for a cigarette. I think him asking me for a buck or two was right the next thing, but he thought better of that when I turned right at him and got right up close to him. It could have been a nervous reaction. More than likely, I'm thinking this guy probably did have some substance abuse or maybe some mental health issues, and this could have been his way of reacting. And I'm almost 6'4", and like I said, when I walk aggressive. There's going to be some links down below on how not to get mugged, and a lot of them talk about walking aggressively, and I do, and it talks about how you swing your arms, your stride, and everything. And look at the links down below, and it's exactly the stuff I do. And I'm thinking this, or conversely, I couldn't make him out. Maybe he thought I was just somebody that's out on the street every night. Maybe he wasn't sure who I was. Maybe he thought he knew me. I don't know. But then there's that last minute where he turns quickly towards me. I know I'm just making excuses, but it could have been a nervous reaction. It could have been, or it could have been him thinking that I was somebody that I wasn't. I know that I'm making excuses. Here's the thing. If it happened again, I would do things exactly the same way, except one thing. I mentioned it about headbutts in the other video, and this is something I don't talk about on my videos a lot, because when I've done this, it's worked devastatingly well, and I am hesitant to tell anybody else to do this. There's a lot of dangers to it. Why this was the first thing that popped up into my mind, because it's dark. You need to know exactly where the other person is. It might not have worked. It's best. This thing works best in a bar. Like, you get somebody that's intoxicated that comes right up nose, and don't ever, ever. Rule number one: don't ever put your nose like this up to another guy's face. You're like this. You got a problem. Like this far away. Never do that, because you are just a target for a bam. A devastating headbutt that will just break your entire face. If you don't do it right, you get stitches in your forehead too. So I'm hesitant. That wouldn't have been the best choice. Okay, my mother. One thing she said to me, she said, "Daryl, you live in a safe, nice place. Why do you go to these places? Why do you do this?" I've always tempted fate. I do that like every day. I pick the biggest hill around here, and I go down it every single day on my bike, doing as fast as I could possibly go with no helmet. Every single day for the last 15 years. And I know if something goes wrong, it's gonna be bad. And I do this. I've done that. I've always done this. I did this with substances too. I think it has something to do with losing so many people. I know, like losing my father, my grandfather, my other grandfather, my grandmother, my friends right out of high school, Audrey. When Audrey passed away, it kind of concreted the idea that we could be gone from here any day. And I think it scares me, and part of it scares me. And part of me is determined just to do what I'm going to do and live my life, because it's going to happen sooner or later anyway. So why not get a little adrenaline rush while I'm doing it? And I know it's not a good way to look at things. So I've had a little time to retrospect, but today I'm going to go on the same walk, and I'm going to go the same way. And if that guy runs into me or I run into him, depending on which way you're looking at it, I'm probably going to do the same thing. I can't afford to take that chance. I can't afford to say, hey, you need $1. Hey, buddy, how you doing? How's your day going? Here's a buck to go get a coffee. I can't do that. I can't take that chance. I won't take that chance. I just can't do it. If I knew the person just a little bit better, but on a dark, deserted street, that's just not. It's not an option. I refuse to do it. All right, you guys, let me know what you think. Have a good Sunday.